Welcome back to Leo Builds It. In today's video, we're doing a little bit something different. I had recorded about 4-5 hours of video for a episode for my nephew's computer build, which is what we're going to do today. During the Christmas holiday, he requested that I give him my gaming computer, which I don't know. That's not going to happen because that's where I edit my videos and I surf the web for side gigs and do everything that normal people do on their computers aside from gaming. So a few months ago, my wife banged her foot on this monstrosity of a case. The monstrosity of the case. And because it was too big for the spot where the computer is currently sitting, so I had to downsize the case, and I was able to find a Cooler Master Box Lite 3.1 for $25 on Facebook Marketplace. So then the Cooler Master 922 case I have here in front of me became available to make a budget gaming rig for my nephew. So I've decided to scrap the AMD Hackintosh build because I'm going to use the motherboard from that and the CPU along with the 8 gigs of RAM for the main motherboard for my nephew. This motherboard can handle up to an 8120 AMD FX processor. It can handle up to 16 gigs of DDR3. The downside is that it has only 2 DIMM slots, so if you want to go up to 16 gigs, you have to get 2 8 gig sticks. I'm not doing that for him. I'm just doing 2 4 gig sticks so you can have 8 gigs, and that will run the standard games like of today, which is Fortnite, Apex Legends. It'll run Battlefield 5. It'll run Destiny. It'll run anything that's has been released at the end of 2018 and into 2019. The next piece of the puzzle was the GPU. I didn't have a GPU available. I went on FreeCycle and I hooked up with a computer repair shop owner that has since retired and has a shit ton of computer parts in their warehouse, and they're just giving it away for free. So I was able to ask him, after he gave me a motherboard and GT210 for what would have been his initial computer, but I'm not that sadistic. I'm going to use that for something else, maybe a Hackintosh build, who knows. So a couple of days went by after I picked up those first 2 parts. He sends me a text and says, "Hey, the best I can do for you is a GT650 Ti Accelerate from P&Y. It has 2 gigabytes, GDDR5, or no, this is GDDR3, I believe, and the recommended video card for Fortnite, which is the game he wants to play the most, from what I remember from being in his house. Recommends a minimum of a GT660 with 2 gigs of VRAM. So this is just a step below that. The minimum requirement is an Intel HD 4000 series integrated video card for like a Core 2 Duo. It's very minimalistic. It's like you can basically use a laptop for it. For storage, I picked up on a trade yesterday a Lenovo ThinkCenter computer. I traded 32 gigs of DDR3 that I had laying around that I'm not going to use. Because it's It's ECC RAM. I pulled it out of an HP workstation machine. Actually, two of them. So I put that kit together. All four sticks work, and the guy gave me $30 for that plus the Think Center. But in the Think Center came a 120 gig Kingston SSD. So this will be the boot drive for the rig. And for data storage or mass storage, I don't have a terabyte drive laying around. All my terabyte drives have gone into systems that have sold since I've gotten them. But I do have a couple of 500 gig old disk drives, and this one right here is a 500 gig 7200 RPM Hitachi Desktop. It came out of a computer. I ran a couple of tests on it. I did a DoD wipe on it, ran zeros through the entire track of the disk to wipe everything out. And it's golden. So the next thing I'm going to get, show you guys here, that this is all going to be powered by my favorite type of power supplies. My favorite brand is Corsair. I use Corsair for everything. I use Corsair, that non-modular 400 watt power supplies. The video card requires a minimum of 350 watts. 400 watts is gives a little bit extra oomph. Normally I try to mate. I go through a website called PC Parts Picker. I will link that website down below, along with a copy of the bill, so you can see how much everything would run if you were buying everything retail. I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't buy this stuff retail. I bought this either on a trade or I bought it used. So the cost of the build so far, I bought this 6 months old, so this was $50. But yes, this was $50, so I'm not gonna hang on that one. A free GPU, a free SSD, a free hard drive, right? So the GPUs, these GPUs go for about $60–75 in the used market right now. 120 gig SSDs, non-branded ones go for about $20–25 used. This is the SSD now 200 V+. It's in a metal case. It's ruggedized, if you will. So I'm gonna say this is a $50 SSD. Is probably used $25–30. The Desktop spin drive, maybe $20 used on eBay if you're lucky. The CPU I got for $40 on Facebook Marketplace used. It came with the OEM heatsink and fan. When I pulled it out of the box, the heatsink fan had not been used at all. The thermal paste from the factory was still intact. The guy was using this one with an all-in-one liquid cooler. I'm not going that route for this build. This case does have ample storage and ample space for radiators and custom cooling pipes, and the whole shebang. Has grommets all over the place. It has ample space in it. I mean, just look at the size comparison between the motherboard, which is a micro ATX board, the same size as my Asus board, and the monstrosity behind it. So this is not going to be sitting in my kitchen any longer. The CPU is an AMD FX 6300 at 3.5 gigahertz. The Vishera, not sure how AMD pronounces it. Core works great. It's overclockable up to 4 gigahertz. I would not recommend doing that without liquid cooling, but for what he's going to be doing with it, it's overkill. The motherboard is an MSI 7641. It has USB 3 in the back. Sorry, my bad. USB 2 in the back. Comes with a DVI and VGA. Comes with PS2 connectors. It's 100 megabyte Ethernet card. It's got 6 SATA ports on it, and for what he should be doing with it, mind you, this is a 16-year-old who's going to be getting this computer. This will be overkill. It's not a I'm going to go balls to the wall. I'm going to play something like Battlefield 5, 1080, 60 frames per second. This is going to go maybe Fortnite, 45, 50 frames a second. Running at either medium or high settings. Going back to the power, so the power supply is a VS400. This is the non-modular version of the Corsair power supplies. I think this is not the ones that are rated for 80 plus. No, I don't see an 80 plus rating sticker on it, so it's probably not. It's probably producing full blast 400 watts 24 hours a day as long as it's turned on. Another thing, I have SATA cables. These are necessary. Can't connect the motherboard to thin air. I color code my SATA cables because it's easier for me to remember which is the primary hard drive. So, of the two shortest cables, which are these two, the orange one will be for the boot drive, the black one for the data store, and the longer, slender orange drive will be for the DVD burner that's in this case. That came with the case. So optical media and case, let's say $50, $40 for the CPU. RAM, I had laying around, so it's nothing. Motherboard I bought for the AMD Hackintosh build, and I paid maybe $30 for it out the door. Free GPU, free SSD, free optical disk drive, free cables. The 400 watt power supply I paid $20 for on the Amazon marketplace. Amazon, obviously Amazon is a marketplace, but on Amazon I got it for the Hackintosh build. So altogether I'm running maybe what, 50, 40, 30, that is 120, and another $20, so $140 worth of components to build a roughly $350, maybe $375 budget gaming rig, which is pretty good. Also, I'll be installing Windows 10 64-bit on it, and I'm going to start the build video and cue the montage. So that's basically it, guys. Just kidding. I'm gonna bring out some thin cable ties, zip ties, and I'm going to clean up this mess, make it look presentable, even though the case itself does not have a side panel installed. I'm pretty sure that at some point someone's gonna look in here and say, oh man, this guy Leo sucked ass. He didn't even do cable management. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at the wires. We're gonna take these wires and bundle them up together like so. Bring in some slack here, not put any pressure on the connectors. Alright. Same thing over here. Tidy up, tidy up, tidy up. Make it look like it's all one piece. I saw the, I've been building my own computer since, shit, I was in high school 23 years ago. 22 years ago? 22 years ago. Actually 23 years ago, because I'm turning 40, so this year, so yeah, 23 years ago. And I've always liked to have my cables connected, not connected, but zip tied, because it looks nicer. The one header I do want to connect is not the one at the top, it's the one for this one right here. The downside to this motherboard is that the USB 3 connector that's on the case is not supported by the motherboard. So no USB 3 functionality for right now. Like I said, this is gonna be like I said, this is a beginner computer for him, so I'm not gonna go all out and deck it out all that much. I mean, my own kid's using a hand-me-down laptop, so I'm not gonna do something for a nephew that I haven't done for my own son yet. So I'm basically, because my son is still in the I'm gonna play Roblox and Minecraft stage of his life. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
You serious?
Seriously?
Oh, wow.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So my nephew. So I'm not gonna do for my nephew something I haven't done for my own kid. Since he's still playing Roblox, and the laptop he's playing on probably the one he's gonna end up with, because the one I gave him has a touchscreen, and I don't want him messing that up, because those are difficult to replace and expensive to replace. Oh, so thank God for flexible SATA cables. The red cable here is an eSATA cable, and yes, even though you probably will never have an eSATA drive, it's better to have it available and not use it than need it one day and never be able to use it. So I'm gonna go here and just go around the back. You know, I watch a lot of PC build videos. These guys that make money flipping parts and so forth, and the stuff that they do with the parts that they get at the prices they get it at, it's astonishing. I'm just making sure I connected a SATA power adapter to the that's not SATA. This these are Molex connectors from the start out in the infancy of computers before SATA power connectors. I used to clip these until one day I clipped one and had to splice it back in because yours truly screwed up and needed the connectors without realizing it. I learned from my mistakes and not clip them. I try to get modular power supplies if possible. My main rig is running a Corsair CX550. It's modular. It's the 550M. It works beautifully for what I use it for, and it provides ample power. I'm just gonna push this over here behind the motherboard. This will never be seen. This fan up top uses its own header. I don't have a splitter for the headers yet. I'm probably not gonna get one for him. This case, even without the fans operating, has ample ventilation. And when I say ample, I mean it has holes everywhere. Everywhere. So there's no need to. It has passive cooling, if you will, built in. The only thing that does require CPU fan is a CPU. Obviously, it's AMD, and AMDs do run hot. I've used AMD over Intel for the last 20 or so years. I have never, ever thanked the maker, to quote C3PO, had a problem with heat. I mean, they get hot, but I've never had a CPU melt on me. I've been lucky in that sense. I also don't do a lot of overclocking or any overclocking at all. So I know a lot of guys like to overclock AMD chipsets, but like the dude I traded the RAM with yesterday, he sends me a message on OfferUp telling me that the RAM's not working for him. And lo and behold, the only way his motherboard, his particular motherboard that he's using, recognizes anything higher than a 4 gigabyte stick is if you overclock it from 1033 to 1600. I said, well, you know, if you're going to attempt to use those sticks at 1600 and you fry them, I'm not going to take a return on them, because overclocking is not part of the deal. You may think you can overclock a RAM chip and let me know about it, and I might give you a refund, but that's what you think, because I ain't going to do that. Alright, so like that. Put one down here. So a few months ago, there was a very popular YouTube site that posted a build video. And granted, this isn't really a build video, more like a commentary video, because I didn't put the CPU, I didn't make the CPU and the motherboard on camera. I didn't do that. That was done previously. I didn't, I didn't do anything else other than just plug stuff in, plug it together, zip tie the crap out of it, and now see, I've got scissors. Excuse the noise. Scissors or a nail clipper. A nail clipper is preferred because a scissor has that, I believe, that 1/4 inch nub at the end. Of the at the end of the zip tie, but a nail clipper gives it to you like this is an old one, okay? Right up against the square, the clip, so it doesn't have anything protruding to stab you later with. We have like you're gonna go back in here after or he's gonna go back in here without my permission or my consent to play with this stuff. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, buddy, if you go into this computer I'm building you and you messed it up with one of your friends in high school, you'll be paying full retail pop for all these parts, because I am not building you another one. So I'm gonna put these over here, like so. So yeah, that's a good idea. So let's go ahead and just. Oh man. I need to get a better camera once I can afford it. If I can ever get to afford it. The camera would be nice. I think something with DSLR that can record and I can put a halo on and a gimbal and all that nice stuff. And I just use this old GoPro that I'm using right now. Is this even on right? Yeah, it looks like it's on right. It's sideways. Alright, cool. I'm not complaining, I'm very blessed to have what I got. I'm just, looking like the other guys and oh man, their quality is great. What are they using? And they're using these $1,000 cameras, off the bat. It's like, yeah, they probably don't have any wives or kids or child support to worry about. Or bills. And I've got all the above. And then some, because I have my wife's kids. And even though she supports them, it's all one pot. Even though she puts more water in the pot than I do. And she'll tell me all the time. Okay, so now it's zip tied. And now I can see if this even reaches what the header is. I think the header is somewhere around here on the board. And since it's a short cable on its own, I doubt I'm going to zip tie it. I'm just going to run it. See how far I get with it. So let me rotate the case again. And the header's right here. See if it's long enough. It's not long enough. Not even close to being long enough. See if it has another one. I'm lucky this. I used to put headers on these motherboards for multiple case fans, but I don't see another one. Any of but yeah. So unless I want to pull out a 80mm fan to do extraction off the bat, I'll just pop. You know what? I'll just use this massive 120 up top. And go in right here. And see if it reaches, and it does reach. Cool. I just plug it in. And then the next shot, so you guys know, will be Windows. After it's installed, we're going to run some benchmarks on it. See how she does. Well, thanks for watching so far. I'll be back in a minute.